All right, so I think we're ready to go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. Friday morning.
Hey, Mike.
It is Friday, right?
It is Friday. Payday. Payday, buddy. Payday.
Well, you know, I mean, we got Malin's Millions. We got Canova's Cash.
Yep.
Whatever they do, they bring donuts, and I'm thankful for that.
It just adds to the paycheck.
You know what? I'm gonna triple your salary today, man. That's it. You know what? Triple to zero is, right?
Yeah, just
still
add
zero
to the end of the paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before and after. Yeah, even before and after the decimal point, it's a zero.
Even the guests get it, so you'll get a paycheck next week.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, it's you get royalties and stuff.
I won't put extra zeros on it if there's already that
Nah,
many.
trust me, you'll be shocked.
You want to move the microphone a little closer to you.
All right.
A little closer. There you go. And you might want to move yourself a little closer.
I can do that.
There we go.
Ta-da! It's been a long time since I've been in the studio.
Has it been real?
A long time.
Yeah.
I did an externship back in, 2007, 2008 with WILI. Oops.
Yeah.
No. Another station.
No. WILI, they're all right.
And it was kind of neat. We did it through our school district, and they wanted us to reach out, do something that we were interested in that we can.
No, would you go to Eastern?
I went to Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was something that we could bring back to our students. Mm-hmm. So the kids were interested in doing some audio production. And
were you student teaching there, or were you?
No, oh my gosh, no. I student taught in Montville years ago, but I was in Killingly for a long time, 22 years. But it was so neat because radio had changed since I was in college radio at ECSU. Oh my gosh, we're talking in the 80s. I remember when the CD player arrived.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoa.
Well, yeah.
We had no CDs, but we had a CD player. But
go ahead.
Carts and, everything was analog. Now I was blown away at what people were doing digitally, and it's even crazier now than then.
Well, radio's not radio anymore.
No.
It's still like this kind of, the radios are now, I mean, podcasts are more of the thing, I guess you could say.
Oh, they're huge.
Yeah. I mean, like, nobody listens to music. I mean, nobody listens to radio, I don't think, anymore for any kind of music discovery. You know what I mean? I think they're like, hey, I got this playlist. Hey, link me or whatever.
Exactly. Or somebody will send it to you, or even artists will put up their own playlist.
Yeah.
And, I listen to a lot of satellite radio.
Yeah.
Because I like the programming. In other words, if you just like something in particular, you like hairband 80s, you literally can have a station where you can just listen to that.
That's like the classic rock station that still exists in Norwich. I mean, that's all
never
I
going
listen
away.
to. And it shouldn't. I mean,
it'll always be there.
Down to one station in this area, but they're great. I mean, you get a little bit of the news and the local stuff. I don't like to just. Everybody's into the serious and all that stuff, and I just can't listen to music constantly. I mean, I want that break. I want to hear, what's going on around the area, what's happening, weather, whatever, and then go back to some music again for a while. And I'm just always a classic rock guy. I mean, that's the generation I grew up in.
For me, it was sports radio that kind of got me.
Yeah.
I listened to like NPR and stuff like that when I was teaching, especially. There was always, high interest stuff and stuff that's newsworthy that I was sharing with the kids. I was a social studies teacher. But then I found WEEI, and it's all New England sports.
Okay. 103.7.
I listened to it constantly.
93.7 in Boston, yeah.
Yeah, love it. I mean, and then really I listened to sports talk all day.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to like Barstool Sports and things like that.
Sure.
We listened to podcasts. And, I had a coworker, we used to commute from Westerly, and we would listen to Barstool stuff and just laugh. I mean, we had an hour drive from Killingly almost to Westerly. So we just throw a podcast on and just,
Do you remember back in the day when in high school, when WEEI was RI 104?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Okay. Right. So there was a guy in the morning by the name of Red Decker.
Yep.
I remember that name.
Yeah. He was the morning guy for quite some time. And he was hilarious.
I think I've actually.
His name was Doug, but he had red hair, so he called him Red.
There were some great morning
people. I got a sticker
at
home that's still an RI 104 sticker that we had gotten someplace that we went and they were there doing broadcasting for some reason.
What was their format, Mike? What did they play?
What
pop? What did RI 104 play?
Classic rock.
Was it classic rock?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that would Well, before that was top 40.
Yeah,
it was all top 4 in a row every time. RI 104.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then
almost
it
missed that.
became classic rock when
Yeah.
it became 103.7 WRX.
WRX.
Oh,
right.
WR. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is like
Maybe that's the sticker I
we're
have.
time warping right now.
I think
because
so,
haven't
yeah.
Heard RA104 or that in years.
Yeah.
Then they turned it back. Or how about this one? Fun 102.
I remember Fun
Wow.
102.
WF. Okay, interesting story with them. They used to be on Route 2 in Pawcatuck.
Okay.
Used to be
Oh,
it was like a brick. It was a brick house.
yeah.
You know, it was mighty, letting it all hang out. But
I
sorry,
remember that part. I remember that.
but it had a horseshoe driveway, and it was the first one that I ever. It was really the first station I ever worked at. And I don't know if you remember, it was a long time ago, but they had the RA10. I mean the Fun 102 Teen DJ contest.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Did you do it?
I won.
I'm not surprised.
I won.
I'm
And-
surprised.
And they even announced it in the morning. And I was like, all right, you had the cool kids,
Mm.
and then you had like the not so cool kids, and then there was Mike, just because I was a band geek.
Yeah.
You know, so
No,
I love
you were one of those
band.
people who walked between.
Yeah, I didn't.
You
I
know,
was not clicky.
Yeah.
I
Not
was
that we
not-
had that many kids in our school.
No.
But we did have
No,
cliques.
and everybody got along. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't anything
You
vicious.
moved
You know?
between the cliques. Like you were as comfortable hanging out with the band kids as you were with anybody else.
Yeah, I didn't care. I didn't care.
That's
I mean,
so
I had
funny.
some of my favorite people. I loved hanging out with you. I always had a good time with you.
I was a nerd.
You were fun. You were fun.
My friends were fun. I became
Nah.
more fun after I got out of high school. Like in
Nah.
high school, I was a guy. I would just stand back and laugh at everything. I was like, I wish I was funny.
No, you
But-
were fun. You were a lot of fun. I love that car. What was it your brother had with the push button?
Oh my gosh,
Trans-
the Batmobile,
It was a car, and it didn't have a
yeah,
lever.
yeah.
You
63 Chrysler
Chrysler used to have
Look,
that.
300.
he
Yep.
knows.
with the push button transmission. I drove it
Over
too.
on-
You let me drive it once. I'm like, what is
on the
this?
left side.
Yeah, we did terrible things to that car. Terrible. Like, give it to a 16 or 17-year-old with some of the people I hung out with, and they thought of amazing things to do with that
Yeah.
transmission, as you can imagine. I'm not going to say any of those here because they were.
Do it with a car today.
My dad would be happy if
Cost
he
you
knew what I did.
$5,000 in damage if you do it to a car today.
I got stories about that car. You wouldn't believe. I still have a picture of it in I found my yearbook, which has been all over the place because I used to schlep it back and forth to school because the kids were doing a yearbook and I wanted to show them my high school yearbook. And inside, we had a bunch of pictures from yearbook that were still kicking around, like black and whites. And there was a picture of the Batmobile, my car,
That was a cool
in
car.
the high school parking lot. And it's still it's still inside the cover of my my yearbook, which is funny.
See, now I had a '62 Ford Falcon. And I thought that was cool. Then this
Oh,
car
I
showed
remember
up.
your Falcon?
Yeah, that thing ran on milk, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
just
That thing was cool.
it was made out of iron.
Oh, yeah.
Or
My grandfather had a-
steel. I mean, that thing was, you could knock it into a brick wall and just laugh.
My grandfather had a
I wish you had that Falcon
63,
now.
63 Fairlane. My
I
grandfather
think
had.
about that a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
I wish the Batmobile got sold for $50. My dad bought it for $500.
I
Oh,
say
my
brand
God.
new. It was probably under 1,000.
Oh, well, it was literally the little old lady
Yeah.
in town had it. My grandfather was doing some work for her, and he's like, she's selling this car. So my father comes home with it, and I'm like, oh no. So I remember like riding in the car because I was like, whatever, 14 years old.
Mhm.
I didn't like, I've got this old car.
Mm.
Right.
Going down the road, I didn't want anybody to see me. Going down Slater Ave, it's like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, one day my mom comes to pick me up at Griswold, the old Griswold High School. So you got to come up that semicircle up front.
Yeah.
So she comes cruising by, and we're on the first floor, so you're kind of like level with the ground.
Yeah.
One of my friends looks out the window, and he sees it. He's like, "Wow!" He goes, "Batmobile, that's awesome! Look at the fins on." And all of a sudden, I
It did have
realized
fins,
the
yeah.
car was cool. I didn't know that
Because
until
somebody
I
else
bought it.
validated it for
Somebody
you.
but
Right.
then I used to put like 17 people in the car and we would just drive around.
Oh, yeah.
Because all my friends played sports, so
Yep.
nobody was driving because I was the only one working. So I was the guy on Friday nights who's got like 8 guys in the car. And let's go to Norwich, and it's like $17 for gas to go back and forth. And well, not then, but literally, I was the ride. So that's how I got in with everybody.
That was a great car, man.
I had it at college. We would take 2 apartments worth of people.
You still had that car in
I
college?
had it in college. So
No
my
kidding.
freshman year, I had it on campus. And the girls across the hall, there were 4 girls in the apartment across the hall that we were really friendly with, and I had 3 roommates. We would all go to Stop and Shop. So 4 of us in the front, 4 in the back, giant trunk. Like, you remember the trunk on that thing? Like, you could go to the drive-in theater and put 17 people in the drive.
Four or five kids in there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we forgot about the kids in the trunk. But we had everybody's groceries, and everybody loved this car. Loved it. But then it died.
It was a minivan back then.
Who didn't do the drive-in movie theater thing, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so we went to school together. We went to high school together. Steve was our class president.
Okay.
He was our class president.
I was a class president, but I was
Oh,
class
come
president.
come on.
We had a lot of fun. When we ran, we had Scott Smith and I. We went all the way through high school. We weren't really involved in any of the student government stuff, and and we got the senior year, and it was kind of like we felt like what's actually happening? What are people doing with our class officers over the years? And it was almost like nobody really wanted it senior year. So Scott and I,
let's run.
So it was kind of a joke. Like, we were serious about running, but we're not going to get elected, whatever. We get elected. We find out, they announce it that we get elected.
It's like, holy crap.
Now what?
So we're having a class meeting in Miss Lupinacci's classroom upstairs. Was she on the third floor? So we're in there, and there were, I don't know, maybe 20 people that came to the class meeting. Scott and I, do you think we had any agenda or nothing?
No.
We looked at each other. Scott starts laughing. Yeah, this is not a good start. This is not a good start. But but we learned quickly that there was some responsibility that came with with that, and it was fun. And, I waited too long in high school. Like, I always kind of cruised along. I didn't do a lot, but senior year I kind of like, my senior year I'm going to jump.
I better get shit done now. Yeah.
It's like, then you're thinking about, I'm going to go to college. What am I going to put on my application? But I was always interested in the high school sports. My friends played high school sports: football, baseball, basketball, and I was kind of like, well, this would be neat. Like, we had like a float. It was an Olympic year, so we had a float for homecoming float, whatever it was. So we had the senior float that we
I don't even remember it.
Oh my God. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, we did all those kinds of things, and it was an interesting senior year. Like, we had a mix of like really cool stuff that happened and some tragedy that year, which that was a wake up call for me because we lost a teacher and an advisor that year. And all of a sudden I was kind of thrust into this role.
Mr. Saunier.
Yeah. And people kind of came to me, like people started coming to my house. They're like, did you hear about this? I was in the shower. I came out. My mom's like, all these people are here. He was not only was our class advisor, but I was in French 4. So I took French all the way through high school. I didn't have to take French 4.
He was my tennis coach.
Yeah. He was a tremendous guy. But we liked him so much that there were maybe 8 of us that took senior year French because we loved the guy. And here I am, all of a sudden, I'm kind of like, I have to be kind of like the spokesperson for the senior class, in that he was an advisor and we'd known him all the way through high school. And I remember we had a memorial service at the church, and I had to do the speech and everything. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize what I signed on for that year. Yeah. I really didn't, until it was like things got real.
Well, now when Mr. Saunier, when that tragedy happened, remember Amy Pothier?
Yeah,
we just went right to his house, and the cops were there, and it was
unbelievable.
He's a guy that just to kind of give you a little synopsis. He was somebody that was flamboyantly gay, but in a time where it really wasn't still accepted yet. Right? Like, I don't know if you know this, but my mother was gay, and and nobody kind of really knew it because she kept it, under. I mean, everybody's got a gay uncle or something somewhere, or gay cousin or whatever. But
back in the 70s,
now it's like, hey, whatever, it doesn't matter.
In the 70s, it was a lot of them around, and
this was between 80 and 84.
It wasn't like out there,
it was just starting to kind of flip, but it wasn't anywhere close. And people, I think, maybe even in our age group, we're talking nothing about what we're supposed to be talking about. But
this was going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
You put 2 guys who went to high school together.
I know.
It's like Glory Days. It's like the Bruce Springsteen song.
I think people were afraid to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Not that they were against it.
Yeah.
They were just afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I think people were almost afraid that didn't know Mr. Saunier, how to act around him.
Sure.
Because he didn't care.
No.
Oh yeah, the other kids in the school that didn't take French, didn't know him. They were like, "Oh, look at this guy."
Yeah.
They're like, he's awesome.
Oh, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
He was
Smoking his little cigarettes and
he looked like. So just to give you an image of this man, he looked like a little tiny Peter Sellers with a toupee. And he had like a toupee,
God.
and he had the rug. We all knew he was
Wearing a rug. Yeah.
But he was hilarious. And the thing is, he loved teenagers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Period. He was fascinated by us. He thought we were hilarious.
Yeah.
We would set him up. But what we didn't realize is he was setting us
you up too, yeah.
Because we're doing stuff that we didn't think he understood what we were talking about
Yeah.
or whatever. He knew exactly what we were. But he would just like,
So it made him a good teacher.
oh, absolutely. We might have like 15 minutes in a class where we're all on the floor dying. Like he was hilarious. But he was also the one of the toughest teachers I ever had. I mentioned Miss Lupinacci, amazing.
Yeah.
Like I remember my freshman year of
She's still
college.
with us, I believe.
I believe
She married finally about 20 years ago.
She was involved in a marina.
A marina down in
somewhere.
Gills Ferry, yeah.
Well, she was one of the greatest teachers I ever had because we took her for anatomy and physiology senior year. Everybody else was taking physics. So I was not that guy. I was not a math guy. I was like, okay, we're going to take fetal pigs apart. I'm like, I can handle that. So I'd rather do that than do physics. So she was an amazing teacher. So she pushed us so hard. We actually studied. Remember, Mike, you and I got together. We never studied in high school.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, one day I'm talking to you and he's like, we got this English exam or whatever. Like, we should get together and have like a study session. And I'm like, you mean like actually study? Like for real? I think it was probably senior year or something like that. And you're like, yeah, let's study.
Probably because I needed to.
And we did, and we did well. And we're like, hey, there's something here. But she pushed us so hard that when I took a freshman college level, it was a human cell biology class. Like it was so incredibly easy compared to my anatomy and physiology class. Mr. Saunier was the same. This was the best. We would do really poorly on a quiz that he prepared us for. And we mailed it in. We were seniors, whatever. So he comes in, he's a little guy. Like, what do you think he was? Like 5'3", 5'4",
If that.
maybe, right?
All of that, yeah.
Soaking wet, he's probably like 130 pounds. So he comes in, he slams the door behind him. And we're all like, oh, what's going on here? So all of a sudden, we start laughing. Well, we're doing what we always do. And he's like, shut up. He gets over to his desk and he's looking at all of us. And he had this, do you remember these things, Mike? The sticks with the little rubber tips on it, like the pointer sticks.
Yeah, sure.
So he had that stick and he's sitting in his desk and he's got one of those old metal teacher desks. Mm-hmm. So we start talking and he goes, I am so disappointed with all of you. And then we start like, because we're not taking him seriously. Yeah. He's really, whether he was acting or he was really mad, but he was like letting us know he wasn't pleased. So we start laughing it up again. And he takes the stick inside the desk and he's banging it up inside the desk. And we're like, and it was one of these things. It was like Beavis and Butthead when they're trying not to laugh in class. we were trying not to laugh at the guy, but he was so serious. But we loved this guy. Just loved him.
Sonia was cool.
Oh, it was great. But he was.
You know who my favorite teacher was?
Who was that?
And everybody hated him that I knew. Gerbert.
Oh, Gerbert was great.
I loved the guy. He
was a good teacher because I failed geometry. So did year. I had to take a junior year. There was three of us, me, you, and another kid.
I took it senior. I had to take it to senior year, yeah. They put me right in algebra 2.
I remember who he was, but there was a kid that was...
I was in a bunch of sophomores. I was with a bunch of sophomores.
I was in with juniors.
All right.
No. I mean, I was in with sophomores, and I was a junior that year. And all of a sudden, I got... Maybe it's because I took it twice. Became like a geometry major. But he would put me up at the board. This was great. So you know the class behind us, class of 85.
Yeah.
They were awesome. And they were
brainiacs.
That too. But they were always kind of giving it to us. And so I'm up at the board and I'm you want to talk about failing? I'm bombing at the board. And he's trying to take me through. He's trying to get me to get it. The kids start coughing answers to me. It was like a scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. 37. They were like, they knew. I was like, you got to get away from that board. Go sit down. And they were trying to save me. And I'm like a junior. I'm supposed to be like, oh, I know what I'm doing. It was crazy.
I was like that when I was a senior. You know, and I actually did well.
Took it as when you were a senior, you went back to take it?
Yeah. instead of making me take it as a junior, because I flunked it with Lemire.
I did too.
Yeah, and I'm
She
like,
was a good teacher too.
she
She was a good teacher. You know what she did senior year
drove
though?
me nuts.
Mike, you and I were in the same situation because what I didn't realize is how close to not graduating I was. If I didn't pass Algebra 2 senior year, I wouldn't have graduated. Mrs. Lemire knew that. So when she had me as a sophomore, I was over like 3 rows over, like right by the window. So I was like this all the time. You know, I don't care. There was like something growing on a tree, a bird. Oh, squirrel.
Is that a new chick?
Exactly. Ooh, hello. So all of a sudden, senior year, I'm in the front row, right against the wall, as far away from the window as possible, because she knew that if she didn't do that, there was no way I was passing that class. And if I didn't pass, I wasn't graduating. I mean, I was a decent student. I wasn't a great student. I was a good college prep student, like solid 80-something student.
Yeah, I was a B student.
I would never have graduated if I didn't pass. But I didn't have that awareness at 16 years old. I was kind of like, I'm just cruising along. Everything.
I almost didn't pass because of history.
Really?
Oh yeah, but I gave Mr. Tremblay some lip, and I remember we got this registered letter in the mail, right? And it said, Michael's in danger of not passing because
I think I probably got one like that too from that.
We had to go. It was my mother, my father, and myself. We had to go to Mr. Tremblay, the guidance counselor, and have a conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I literally looked at Mr. Tremblay, and I don't think he expected this from me. And I said, so if I don't pass history, I don't graduate. That is correct. You'd have to take summer school. You'd be able to walk.
Yeah.
You'd get no diploma.
Yeah.
They would let us walk back then?
Yeah, they would let you walk, but you go to summer school, and pass it, whatever. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I remember talking about a case about Sacco and Vanzetti, Mr. Thomas. Right? And I said, I don't know. I said, I asked a bunch of adults. No one has ever talked about that in their life.
Believe it or not, it was in the history books that I was teaching.
Really?
Yes.
And I said to him, I said, I don't know if that's going to be on an application that's going to pay me $50,000 a year. That's what I said to him.
And $50,000 then was a ton of money.
Exactly. It's like, tell me about Sacco and Vanzetti. And I'm like, no. Okay. So anyway, I literally bullshitted my way through that class.
Well, he was a substitute teacher because Barry was pregnant.
Who I hated. I
loved her because I was on.
Damn,
I was on yearbook. Remember, I was on yearbook, so I was like, I was in that club. So,
God bless her, she's still with us.
Oh, I know.
But as a teacher, I freaking hated her.
Well, my daughter.
It was
my
notes
daughter
on the
her.
board, Mike. Like literally, she had like the entire board filled up with notes, and we took notes. She might have shown a video once in a while. I remember she had actual Holocaust photographs. I have no idea how she got these things. But
she probably took them.
I'm not even touching that.
My daughter had her, for crying out loud.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I remember that name.
She was
the only reason I passed history.
40s, 30s, early 40s.
I don't know. I think she was immortal. Witches are. So I didn't.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Barry.
Sorry.
If you're listening, I'm sorry.
The only reason or way that I passed history was because she left. Otherwise, I'd be here diploma-less. Diploma is not even a word. I'd be going to class 101.
Yeah. No, he told the best stories, that guy.
Who, Mr. Thomas?
Mr. Thomas.
Oh, remember him?
He was talking about
I can get out there and play football with the best of you.
He was talking about Rocky Marciano from Brockton, Massachusetts. And he had that, the funny part,
he was like 80.
Yeah, because he was a teacher at NFA.
NFA, yeah.
When my father was in school. So I was looking at my father's yearbook. I'm like, that's Mr. Thomas. That's Miss Lemire. Like, Miss Lemire was at NFA when my father was in high school. And I'm like, Mr. Thomas told, I kid you not, I still remembered stories he told. I still remember. I mean, I don't think I learned anything about history that year.
Do you remember the very first full week Mr. Thomas was in, what he did?
No.
He played Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur was pretty cool, though.
5 reels. So it was like a free week. And then we had to write a report.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't remember that being the first week he was there, but I remember seeing it.
His first full week, yeah.
That's what he did.
And then he had to write a report. And I wrote it. Well, actually, I did write the report, and he gave me a 92.
Wow.
Okay?
That's great.
Which was, whoa.
Ben-Hur was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. It was a really great movie. But it had some sort of historical reference, so we watched it.
What was that? Was that world history that we took that year?
It was World History 2.
Yeah, it wasn't U.S. Would you
No.
think that would have been
That
U.S.
was-
history?
That was
we were taking?
as a junior, we took that with Cannell.
Oh. We actually had history in that class.
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember ever learning anything about history in that class. I learned about everything that was going on in the high school and who, who he was busting on all the time, but I don't remember learning anything about history. Oh my gosh. This is hilarious, Mike. Here's the problem. You and I could do this all day. We could do this all day.
Oh, I know. I know.
Just imagine, like, if you had somebody from the class of '84, like, each week, and there'd be entirely different stories.
It would be.
Different things people remember or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of commonality to. I mean, we had 62 kids, 63 kids
68.
in our class.
68.
68. Because some of the kids were in an alternative program that we met years later.
Yeah.
There was an alternative program in Slater Mill Mall, and it was in the church over here at one time. So we had at least 3 classmates who we never met because they were in the alternative program.
Right.
Ironically, the alternative program that was in Jewett City was run by Michael Vos, who eventually went to Killingly and started ALPS, the program I worked in with Bill Scalise in roughly 85 or 86. Like when I was in college, they started the alternative program. And that's where I ended up working for 22 years, is in that alternative program.
Really?
But Mike was their teacher in the church and in Slater Mill Mall in this very tiny alternative ed program. And what do we have? Less than 400 kids in the high school, maybe?
Yeah.
At that time?
It was
a small
very,
high
very,
school.
very small.
Very small. We had 68.
Actually, 69, I think it was.
Did we?
Yeah, that actually graduated.
That's even bigger than I thought. The next smallest one I ran
was-
into, Westbrook. There was a kid I went to college with, went to Westbrook High School. They were smaller than us. They were like 50-something in his graduating class.
Melissa's class was like 64.
Really?
I think that's what it was lower than ours.
Grizzle's much bigger now, my understanding.
Yeah.
Like much
Well,
bigger.
they've really. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
they've really grown, especially with
Now, what year did she graduate?
Melissa.
Yeah.
92.
Oh, okay. So she's older than my daughter.
And
My daughter
was it the
graduated-
new high school at that point, 92?
My daughter
Was it brand new?
No,
at that point?
no. She was still in the old one.
Old high school.
Yeah.
My daughter graduated in 2000.
I think she was the last one.
I think so. What year did
Was
that
the-
actually finally open? 93?
Yeah.
My sister was in high
Right
school
around there.
when she
Because her
graduated.
brother actually graduated from the high school now. So
Well, my
Which is
sister
over 30 years
graduated
old.
in, I'm
Yeah.
making this up, 91, 7 years younger. Oh, yeah, 91. She was actually one of the people.
your sister.
My sister Karen was one of the people with the shovels, and they did the groundbreaking.
Oh, really?
So she was leaving high school as a senior, involved in the groundbreaking ceremony for the new high school. And like you said, it was what, 2 years later, 3 years
Yeah.
later that it opened?
Yeah, my daughter graduated in 2000 and my son graduated in 2003, and that was all out of the new school. But I don't remember their class sizes, though. They weren't huge, but I don't remember what the numbers were.
Well, I think Grizzled High School, just as a resident looking back, I think as far as the new school is concerned, or the current school,
Right.
not 30 years
It's
is
even
not new anymore,
I know.
is really just starting to hit its stride.
Yeah.
I really think they finally found their niche. So, you have like Sean McKenna, who our superintendent is, and he's between him and Mary Beth, the Board of Ed chair, has really turned it into what it needed to be, and like a business model. So they started taking and sending down students, which has been really, really good for Grizzled's bottom line.
Yeah.
And now they're in excess of $3 million a year of kids coming in from different
How
towns.
many
They're up
towns
to
are sending
8.
to Grizzled?
Yeah.
8?
Yeah, matter of fact, even Norwich, Norwich kids,
Yep.
even though NFA is not a public school,
Right. That's usually the home school for Norwich kids.
exactly.
Right, and a lot of others.
But
they're
because it's not
private,
a,
though,
Right.
but because it's not a public school,
It's not
Right.
BOE. Right?
they can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
and then
8
the
towns?
the town of Norwich sundowned every school except for Griswold. So now we're getting kids from Norwich. So it's let's see,
crazy.
Voluntown, Lisbon, Canterbury, Sprague.
Killingly, Plainfield.
No.
No,
Not
No.
Brooklyn, because Brooklyn can go
No.
to they go
Baltic.
to Woodstock and Killingly.
Yeah.
Norwich, Preston.
That's a lot.
There's one I'm not.
We never had Preston kids. We had Lisbon and
We do
Canterbury
now.
kids.
Preston
when we were there.
just started
I was going to say,
like 2 years ago, a year ago.
that makes sense, though.
But yeah,
Preston makes sense.
sure does.
Yeah,
I mean, it always
And we're
makes sense that they went
co-oping
to
with
NFA.
Wheeler on a lot of sports.
Oh,
If,
yeah,
if your
true.
town's going to
You know.
pay to put you in a high school someplace, I mean,
Oh,
why
these
shouldn't,
co-ops
why
are-
shouldn't Griswold be an option?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Co-ops are unbelievable now with sports. Like when I was teaching, schools that traditionally had their own programs would start co-oping because they didn't either have enough kids.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of funds and
Right.
and fielding teams,
Right,
they started to have these co-ops, and I was like, wow, this is kind of neat because you got a bunch of small towns that have there's let's say 3-4 towns that have a team.
I went to Norwich Tech, and back then they didn't have a football team. I mean, the
No.
state wouldn't pay for it. They had a baseball team. Used to have
They
intramural
had soccer,
basketball.
right? Didn't they have soccer?
Yeah, I don't even know if
I
it was
mean,
like
Norwich-
I don't even know if it was like a
Norwich Tech.
competitive team against other schools. I mean, baseball
Was it
certainly
probably
was.
a club then at that time?
But it was, it was just you weren't there for that. That's
Yeah.
not what you went to Norwich Tech for. I mean, they had it, but
We never even had soccer in Griswold. Like when we were in high school, we didn't have a soccer team, which was at that time soccer wasn't as big as it is now. But still, looking back,
I'd
at that,
have to look through a yearbook.
most of the
But
schools
I
had
don't.
soccer teams. We
I
didn't
don't
even have one.
remember soccer. I mean, a traveling soccer or a traveling based basketball team. Baseball, definitely, they competed. But
Well, baseball
other than
was
that, it
big.
was.
Baseball was big when
Baseball was king in
Yeah.
Kansas City.
But they used to have the rifle team where you could bring your guns to school.
And if they had that,
go
yeah.
shooting out. My brother, he graduated in '89, and they were still doing it then. You could
That was a big deal.
bring your gun
Yeah.
on the bus, take it to school, and then go shooting with the team afterwards.
I know two guys who went to Citadel from NFA, and one was
This
a
is Norwich
retired state trooper now, but he was on the NFA rifle team,
Mm-hmm.
and another guy, and they both went into the military or the state police force. And I remember not thinking anything of it. It's
Is
like,
that
oh,
the
rifle team, that's pretty cool.
Current chief down in Groton by chance?
No,
No, okay.
no. But he was a
he
colleague
was
over
Citadel,
at
yeah.
Killingly. So he
Uh-huh.
post retirement, he was working in the in-school suspension or out of school suspension program in Killingly.
we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to get into Class 101.
Yeah,
We'll talk about what you're doing,
Great.
and what you're doing for kids, in that program. And I think it's pretty cool stuff. I was reading some of the stuff that you had sent over,
Great.
And I think we both got some questions we don't talk to you about.
Sure.
I could talk 3-4 hours,
Oh,
just
me
sitting
too.
here and then take a break and then talk another 10, about the old high school days
Oh,
and
my
stuff.
gosh.
But
We might have to have a segment where you have once a week, it's like class of 84. And then what we do is we get a reunion committee out of that. Because I remember talking to you and some other people just before COVID. It's like, oh, we're going to do this thing. And then COVID happened. And but this is what? This is 50
40.
for us? 40?
40.
40? So I think we got to get something together.
Yeah. The last time it turned into like a cliquey dinner with 6 people or
What,
something.
Tamarack?
I didn't go.
Tamarack. The one at Tamarack was actually about.
I wasn't even
20.
invited.
I wasn't. By the way, I was not part of that.
I think it was Cheryl that did that one.
I don't know how that invite thing even worked. I don't even know if they knew where everybody was, whatever. But we have no excuse now because between Facebook, the internet, and everything else, and
Oh, I have never been hard to find.
no. But the thing is,
So-
I don't even remember
Kolmanarski.
if there were invites, so to speak. But yeah, we'll get this figured out this year.
We do. All right, we'll be back in a second. We'll talk to Steve Craig from Class 101 and alum from 1984 Griswold High School. Keep it right here. It's SNSM.
Better with Burns.
Much better.
So much better with Burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better with Burns.
You buy better at Burns. You buy better.
The Burns Agency is a full-service organization with insurance products ranging from business owner policy needs to personal insurance like home, auto, and umbrella. Some companies can make that a one-stop shop. That's why we value partnering with insurance companies like Arbella Insurance. Like us, they offer a range of insurance coverage for our valued clients. Having your most valuable assets covered by a single insurance carrier, serviced by a local agent, is priceless. The Burns Agency proudly partners with Arbella to bring you insurance coverage at competitive pricing. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Buy better.
Better with Burns.
Much
City Savings Bank's commitment to helping local businesses fuel growth was recognized by the Small Business Administration and readers of the Commercial Record. We invite you to put our winning commercial lending team to work for your business. Because when local businesses succeed, we all win. To learn more, visit jcsbank.com. Jewett City Savings Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Dentist. In a word, yes. Especially if that dentist is Dr. Katzoff and the staff at Griswold Dental Associates. They follow all the latest safety protocols while doing what they do best, taking care of you. From preventive to restorative, your dental care couldn't be in better hands. To schedule your appointment, call Griswold Dental Associates today, 860-376-2626. That's 860-376-2626.
Has arrived. They're your local auto super center. Put some excitement in your day and rent a Polaris Slingshot from Strain Family Motors, adjacent to the Green Onion Restaurant on River Road. Check out Strain Family Motors Super Center on Facebook as well as strainfamilymotors.com for everything sales, service, and excitement. River Road, Lisbon, Strain Family Motors, your local auto super center.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't know. That's what I mean. You can keep talking. So we were talking about how like we're streaming Sea Unicorn games, and where are they? Well, it's the Futures League. It's called.
Is that what they call it?
They're all area collegiate baseball players. Up and down the New England.
Okay.
So the Norwich Sea Unicorns. Like this. That's it. They get a hit. They go, hey, like that. They're kids from UConn, UHart,
so
Yale. They're right. There are all over the place, right? Then then there are rivalries. Like for example, the Broxton Rocks, ROX. They hate each other.
Oh, I've heard of them.
They hate each other. There's the Nashua, New Hampshire Starfires or something. The Worcester Bravehearts, who just had a 16-13 game a couple of nights ago. Crazy.
Do the major leagues comb this futures thing for prospects at all?
Well, that's the idea. And I will tell you this, that a couple nights ago, I was actually running the high home cam right outside the broadcast booth. And there was a guy that was sitting behind, and he had a jugs gun. And he's scouting
So
a
this
pitcher.
guy was like throwing gas, and he wanted to see how fast he was throwing.
Well, yeah, but when you're throwing 85 at 19 years of age,
Sure.
You're
85 is
probably
pretty
going to hit.
good.
Yeah, your arm's going to get stronger as you get
especially
older.
if he's
Only
also
get better.
got other stuff too.
And a lot of these kids haven't even grown into their own bodies yet,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So
How old do
anyway,
you think the kid was? Like 19?
yeah, these are
Wow,
these are right out of. Well, for example, there was one kid I can tell you. His name's Colton Bender. He's a catcher.
Yep.
He played for Lyman Memorial.
Yep.
And he got drafted by the Pods.
Really?
So yeah, it's like 2 years ago.
Okay.
So he's playing for he's in single A ball, but
So futures is what they call it. And that's
Futures
such a
League, yeah.
great stadium. I used to live in the business park, literally behind right field. If you go through the trees, I was in Meadow Ridge, and there was like a condo complex. So when they had the fireworks at Dodd Stadium, even when it was
get
a sea, we'd stand out in the driveway and we could watch them.
Every Friday night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was always you knew it was summer.
Yep.
You knew what was going on. Like I would be driving up the hill to go to Plum Tree Drive, and they're like exploding over the road, or at least it looked like it. But what a beautiful stadium. I mean, I remember when the Navigators were there and it first opened, and what a lot of buzz. And they, what did we go through? 3 franchises? Giants, Tigers.
well, it was the
Yankees.
Navigators, which were the Yankees.
Yankees, yep.
Then it was no.
San Francisco Giants, maybe?
Did the Twins come in?
No,
For
they
1
were
year?
in New
They were
Britain.
New Britain. Okay.
But San Francisco was here.
San Francisco was here. Yeah, the
Then
Giants.
Detroit for a while.
Then Detroit. Yeah.
But there's no local interest in those teams.
No, I know.
Like even like the Yankees, absolutely.
But then they went up and went to Jersey.
Oh, that league is insane because like I remember when we went to see Nomar Garcia Parra was a prospect with Double-A Trenton Thunder at the time. Trenton Thunder was actually
That's
the
right, because
Red
they're
Sox.
in Portland now.
Now they're Portland, and Trenton if I'm not wrong, the Yankees are Trenton or for in Double A or something.
Yes.
Like these things, people sell these teams like all over
Like
the place.
commodities.
You can't even keep track of who's who anymore and like what franchise they're affiliated with. But that was fun. Double A baseball was a lot of fun. I love
Double A is cool because if somebody's doing a rehab assignment, guess what? They're going to Double A, and you're getting
Darryl Strawberry was in
Daryl
Norwich.
Oh my,
Yep.
Clemens pitched
I
there.
got to see all kinds of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of
AAA
signed
too.
balls by a bunch of players from up there back then. Yeah.
So when
Very
the single
fun.
A team came in, for the Red Sox to play, Rich Gedman was at was on third base.
Yeah, because he's been a coach for the Red Sox organization in the minors for
Quite a while, yeah.
yeah.
Let's talk about
okay.
Class 101. We haven't gotten there yet. I mean, that was the whole.
That was the premise of
People
me
are like,
coming in.
Mike, what the are
This
you
is
doing?
more like, hey, let's hang out and talk about high school. you know?
Yeah.
No, but I'm also very interested, Mike, in what you're doing with the Sports Network, and so what you're doing is like essentially streaming news in the Sports Network.
Yep.
Kind of what you're doing. But I was kind of curious about what you were doing with the sports because some of it I'll see streamed or you'll have some posts and stuff, but it's really cool. So you're involved with the Sea Unicorns, and you're
Right now, yeah.
So you're streaming those games? Is that what you do?
They don't have any home games until Tuesday, so we've got basically a week off.
That's pretty cool.
But we're the only ones with a center field camera.
Wow. Where do they
can,
go to? Like September? August? Where
No,
do they play
August.
into?
August, and then all the playoffs, and
Okay.
the second week in August they're done.
Because even the minor league teams are done like about a month.
Well, I should say
before
the team is
majors.
done, but they still have events at Dodge Stadium.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I'm
so-
signed up for some events with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah,
The Greater Norwich Area Chamber
Oh,
of
you-
Commerce. They
the
got some
one in
great things
October.
coming up. Yeah. So
The Healthy Living Festival.
I'll be there.
Yep.
I'll be there with my Easy Up and my banners, and I'll be throwing footballs at people.
So,
Whatever. it
Class 101.
takes. Yes.
Now, how many years have you been teaching?
I taught
22 years?
on the books just shy of 30 years.
Okay. So,
I've been in education 35 probably.
so tell us what Class 101 is, and then we'll talk about your transition from
Yeah.
that to that. So,
Class 101 is a one-to-one college planning experience for students. So what we're doing is the entire college planning timeline. So we literally will sit down with a family wherever they come to us. So whether they come to us as sophomores or juniors, and sometimes we'll get like the behind the eight ball senior who is like, okay, I took SATs and that's all they've done. So what we do is we really do a personalized, individualized college planning timeline with the students. Starts with them getting a college list of potential colleges, getting it narrowed down. And then we're doing 9 other services besides all that planning piece. We're working on crafting their Common App essays. They're doing ACT and now digital SAT prep. I'm working with them with the families on FAFSA. We're working on both.
that's a challenge.
Yeah,
FAFSA
apparently-
is always a challenge.
Yeah, I've
well,
heard that,
especially
yeah.
because of the changes this year. And in fact, I would be at a BNI or Chamber of
Sure.
Commerce meeting, and I would, let's say, especially 2 months ago, 3 months ago,
Yeah.
and I would say FAFSA, and people are like whispering at me while I'm speaking. I need to talk to you. You have a business card. I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And that was a hot button, and we were dealing with it as college planners across our network.
Yeah.
We have over 110 Class 101s across the country. I'm a franchisee. But even in our network, the word was, it's a good application, but there are technical issues with it. And we were starting to encourage families just to wait. It's almost like, remember when we would get the new Windows?
Yeah.
It's like, I'll wait for the service pack. Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting it now. I'm going to wait till they patch
Right.
it. That's really what was happening is families were getting frustrated. They were inputting all their information correctly, and then they would go to submit, and it wouldn't submit properly. They didn't lose the information. It just all got held up. People were frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand the changes, the nature of the changes. It was really designed to be more, it really simplified things for parents. They have some new features to it where you have, for example, what they call contributors. It's a concept of the student starts the application, gets the ID, and they invite people who are potential supporters, who may or may not help them finance their education. And they can send an email link out to these people who are contributors. Now, they're not on the hook, but there are other people who kind of get factored into the equation. So a lot of people didn't understand all this and the jargon and everything else. So that was a huge thing is people were up in arms about the FAFSA. This is horrible. But that's one of the things, merit and local scholarships. So I'm always looking in the communities, and like when I'm in Chamber of Commerce meetings and other community events, and I'm hearing about Rotary scholarships or local scholarships, certainly based on the student's intended major or what field they're going to go into.
Yeah.
There are so many scholarships that go unapplied for because people simply aren't aware of them.
It's like grants.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
They're just sitting there.
I know.
We talked about that plenty.
That'll be something I'm going to be working on too, because there are a lot of, as I'm hearing more and more about different small business grants from different agencies and organizations. But, my job is to be aware of those things, encourage my students to apply for them. And also we're working on really getting merit scholarships for students. Since the inception of Class 101 in 97, across the network, they have helped students earn over 1.1 billion in scholarships.
Wow.
Network wide.
Wow.
Through Class 101.
Class 101 since
Wow.
1997. So, the network grew. Tom Paven started it in 1997 in Lexington, Kentucky, and it grew. He was a youth pastor, and he was not a college planner. He was just a trusted adult in the community. So he was approached by, one of the parents, and she said, she really looks up to you and she trusts you, but we're really struggling with this college process. Do you think you could help her? And he was like, sure. Like it's not what he did.
Right,
but he was a youth pastor, and he was like, yeah, I'll help out. He loved doing it so much that he started Class 101. So he started with the one location in Lexington, and really it became a franchise.
Yeah.
So we have the ability, as another feature that I think a lot of people aren't aware of, is I'm not just a private educational consultant. I'm in that network, and I have all these different resources, people I can reach out to, people who know stuff about, let's say, military scholarships that I might not be as conversant with. I can get on a Zoom call with somebody this afternoon and get
information about
those
that.
things. Yeah.
Good.
So that's one of the things that makes us stronger is that network. And then we even help this. We really are like one-to-one, like concierge school counselors. We look at their academics with them. We make sure that they're taking the courses that they should be taking. So if they say they want to be a nurse and they're not in a career pathway for healthcare, they're not.
And how often does that happen?
Taking chemistry.
How often does that happen?
Schools are getting better about it now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they want to get these kids in career pathways in grade 9. When you and I were in grade 9, did we really know what we wanted? I can tell you right now. My brother went through this.
I want to
with
get
his
home
son.
and watch Tom and Jerry.
Exactly. I want to play Atari.
Yeah.
Which we did at your place.
Yeah.
Right
often.
Bikes, let's all play Atari. But what happened with my nephew? He was going to a school in North Kingstown where they were really big on CTE, and career pathways. So they wanted every kid to be in a career pathway. So I think they sat every kid down as a freshman with their, they saw their guidance counselor once a year, and they said, "Hey, you got to pick a career pathway." Kid's like, "All right, what sounds cool? Oh, robotics and engineering. Okay." Now I think he's a sophomore, junior. He has no interest whatsoever in robotics and engineering. He wants to play Madden, he wants to play Xbox, and he wants to go on TikTok. That's what he wants to do.
Me too.
And he exactly. But then my brother's like, wow, he goes, he was in this track, but he really wasn't doing the stuff. So it does happen where the kids will sign on to something and they're not interested in it. They're not pursuing it. They're not taking the necessary classes. So the student he wants to be a nurse, he's not taking chemistry. He's not taking anatomy and physiology. He's not taking advanced math. It's like, you got to make sure that they're on track in high school for what they're going to do beyond high school.
So how would I went to a technical high school. So obviously the education path, as far as the academic side of things, was always different than the normal high school.
Absolutely. Still is.
You went to a normal
extent.
high school because you were going to go to college.
Right.
So now you got these kids that go to tech schools to learn trades. And I did very well in the trades that I went for. But how do you work with kids today? Because they don't take SATs. They do the NOCTI testing, for their trade part of things. It's almost like they don't care about the academic side of things. They're more worried about to the state how it looked on the trade part. And I've been the proctor for them people a couple of times, But I'm just curious, do you work with kids from technical high school? Because kids from technical high schools go to college.
This is a great question.
They do go to college. I mean, how do you plan for them?
I have not targeted the tech schools initially, and I've had this very similar conversation. I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Years ago, if you remember, Norwich Tech on New London Turnpike, and you had Thames Valley next door. When you went here, you went here.
You went straight
didn't
there.
go to UConn. You didn't go to all the Yales. You weren't being prepped for that. You weren't being prepped. You went here. You went there to be an electrical engineer because you took electrical shop. You know what I'm saying?
They are more so now. Like the academics have changed a bit.
I'm sure they
not
have.
a ton.
I'm sure,
but they have been changed. And a friend of mine works at Ellis.
Okay,
he's a biology teacher there.
Yep.
So he's not a trade
teacher.
He's not a trade instructor.
He had basic science.
He's a biology teacher, and he said that the academics are, because they're pretty rigorous. Probably more rigorous than he thought they would be for
it's not
a tech school.
It's not NFA. It's not
Not
Griswold. It's not Killingham, Plainfield.
However, there are so many kids who are in tech schools who are in various trades and shops that are geared towards, let's say, engineering, where if they really want to go to the next level, they're going to get a bachelor's or a master's.
You know why most kids go to technical schools today? And I saw this for myself, because they don't have to sit in a classroom all day. They're in a shop half the time.
Well, it makes sense. Trades are great.
And when I did the proctoring for NOCTI, I know the teacher very well. And he was the one that told me point blank that these kids are never going to work in this trade. They're just here so they don't have to sit in a classroom. And that's the truth. And, when I still had my trade licenses up until I retired, I finally let them go. You had to go to continuing education every year. And I would go to that continuing education every year for 4 hours. And you looked around the room and there was 55 or 60 trade guys there. And the youngest guy was probably 50 years old. Wow. I mean, there's nobody moving up in the trades. It's a tough deal.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. I mean, it's not just electrical; it's a lot of the trades. Yeah. But this is stuff that teachers at Norwich Tech that I know had told me that this is what's taking place, and it's like, and you can't fail them, because if you do, the state cuts your money. You got to move them along.
Well, you're not the first person to raise the trade school. I don't want to say issue, because it's not an issue.
It's not.
But
they got the right to go to college.
I probably need. I think, and you're the second person in, I'm going to say, the past week now that has said, have you started to market with the trade schools,
sure,
like Grasso Tech and things like that? And I said, I haven't. Doesn't mean I won't, but I am thinking about that now, that I know a lot of people who went to Norwich Tech, sure, or Ellis or whatever, or Grasso, who went to college because they had been in trades that lend themselves to engineering.
Sure. And
they knew that was the next level. Sure. You really had to at least have a bachelor's.
But that was like the limitation, though, because if you went to Norwich Tech, you weren't going to school to be a doctor. If you're going to go to college, you went to be an engineer, electrical engineer, electronic engineer, whatever the shop you were in, and it's, a guy that went through 4 years of automotive wasn't going to school to be a brain surgeon. You know what I'm saying? It's like the other schools prep you more for that than the tech schools do, but kids from tech schools do go to college.
We can certainly address any kind of deficits that a kid has. So let's say the students go into a tech school and there are certain things that they aren't doing in a tech school that they're doing in a comprehensive high school
because they can't get it.
I can get those things done.
Okay, so if they can't get
it
in the school,
they need ACT and they need SAT, I can get that done with them. But see, we're really starting to push ACT because a lot of the merit scholarships are based on the scores that students have. So they're looking at SATs, yes. Are they looking at class rank? Yes. Are they looking at GPA? Yes.
Sure.
But they're also looking at ACT scores.
Okay.
So if you want a merit scholarship, one of the things they're going to look at is where are you on your ACTs, and each of the schools has a range that they're looking for.
Sure.
If I've got a student, I pre-test them and they're on the low end of the range for the school they want to get to.
It's going to be tough.
My objective is to work with them in the test prep.
Get that up.
And we can really target skills. Like we have proprietary software and curricula where we can target any students, or let's say I have a group of kids that's all struggling with I don't know,
Life
or whatever. Oh, something in grammar. Well, yeah, I'm struggling with life myself. Thanks.
Yeah.
But listen,
the grants for that.
dangling modifiers, whatever it is. Like, and we'll find stuff like a bunch of kids. So I have let's say there are 6 kids in a test prep class. They all struggle with the same thing. For whatever reason, they all have this weakness. Mm-hmm. I can target that. Yeah. I've got stuff that I can pull and say, all right, guys, we all had some trouble with this on this last practice test. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at this. So I'm not teaching. No, I am coaching.
You're guiding.
Guiding. Right. I'm a facilitator.
Providing information. Right. This is what you need to do.
I am not directly teaching.
No, I get that. I get that.
But no, people will kind of take offense
But that's not your job.
Right. No. It's not. And no, I read that. I read that in the link that you gave me. They want me to coach and facilitate.
The link that you forwarded to me for the Class 101 thing, I read all that. It's definitely not a teaching environment. I get that. No, it's
some of the most successful Class 101 owners weren't in education at all. Weren't in education. They
went to tech school.
Professional. They went to tech school.
See,
I was in mechanical.
They know how to find the information.
They're business people.
Right.
In some cases, they're former admissions. They worked in admissions at colleges.
They know what.
So they know they have the inside track. Or they're marketing people who went to college themselves. They love kit, and that's the key thing.
Yeah.
And like anything that you do, I'm involved with School of Rock in Madison. I'm an adult band participant. Mm-hmm. So I go there. I work with other musicians they're taking lessons, and so I go once a week. And
they have any need for a tuba player?
We'll get something. We'll do like a drum line, like bring them in. Exactly. But I first looked into some of those types of things because I love music. I'm a huge concert goer. Like I can just tell you the stuff I went to and the stuff I'm going to. It's insane, especially in the summer with the outdoor shows. But it was the same thing with Class 1 with School of Rock. You didn't even have to be a musician. Mm-hmm. You had to have some business sense, marketing sense, and you have to love music and love kids.
Sure.
And that's the key thing. Sure. The reason I went into Class 101 is because I got to work with teenagers again on my own terms. I'm not answering to a school district, a principal.
And it's kids that want to learn. They're there because they want to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is a lot of people were saying like, I was talking to a potential client, and she was telling me about her daughter, and she's a freshman, and she already knows she wants to be a vet, and she's already like figured out where her undergrad is going to be and what she's going to do for grad school. I'm like, I don't think you need me. But she goes, no, I was like, she's like a freshman, she's still trying to figure stuff out, and I just.
Then she doesn't know she really wants to be a vet.
Right now she wants to be a vet.
And this is the guy with the checklist that can say, yes, yes, yes. Okay, you got to do this. Yes, yes, you got this.
Exactly.
You're that guy.
But yeah, and it's accountability. Right. But the thing that was funny is I said, well, I do free consultations all the time. I said, well, I can do it in person. I can do it over Zoom. And I said, yeah, I'd like to meet with you and your daughter. She goes, you want my daughter there? I'm like, yes, because we need the buy-in from the students. Like, I'm not gonna take a family sight unseen, sit down with the parents, like, yeah, we're signing the kid up.
Yeah.
When I actually sit down in the consultation,
you want to know this is what the kid wants,
right? And I would say a third of what I do in there is getting to know the student.
Sure.
And like what you're doing is you're really kind of the way it goes is this. I'm looking to see what they know about the whole college planning process, what they know about college, what it costs, what they think they want to do. It really drives the sales presentation because I can't do that without the student there. There's that interaction.
I didn't go to college, and my 2 kids, my daughter went later on in life.
When they're ready.
Her 2 daughters right now, I just watching her go through that whole FAFSA thing that you're talking about. And listen, I never dealt with it, so I don't know, but I've heard it's a headache. And my daughter just went through whatever the hours or whatever you got to put into that stupid stuff and send it in. Yep. And one of them got sent back for the 2 girls. They're both going to Marshall this year. And, they got all kinds of scholarships and grants here, like super students. But the FAFSA was the big hang up on one of them, only on one of them for some reason. I don't know why, but one of them, the FAFSA was like.
It's been a challenge. It continues to be a challenge. Yep. And it's something that we're all going to get through.
Yeah, yeah.
And as college planners, we're seeing it all. So I mean, if we've got, like I said, we got 113 locations now. Everybody who's doing FAFSA is running into something.
Sure.
And sometimes it's just a clerical thing. Sometimes it's misinformation that comes from the parents. We try to get as much of the information up front before we even start this process.
Sure.
In other words, we don't want to come in and have everybody fumbling around, throwing a bunch of paperwork on the table. We actually have a mechanism for kind of organizing it before we even do all that. But even then, like you said, it's not infallible. Something's going to go wrong. And it's been a huge frustration for a lot of people. But yeah, we guide people through that process amongst other things. And then when they submit their Common App or their applications, when it's decision time and the students have chosen the college that they're going to go to, like I said, they've been accepted to 4. Like I'm going to go to Duke. Okay. I didn't just say that.
Duke.
Oh, come on. I'm a Connecticut fan.
Christian Leighton.
I will always hate that guy. But once the students get accepted, they commit to a school, we also help them manage their academic portals. So in other words, they're not just on their own. It's like, oh, you got in, good for you.
Yeah. Now what do you do?
We're going into the academic portals with the kids, making sure they're on top of their deadlines going into their freshman summer.
This is what you want to be when you come out.
Did you pay your enrollment fee? Did you
see? These are some tips that you're giving to these kids, right?
Yeah.
As freshman, sophomore, because it doesn't really just start as, all right, we're halfway through my junior year, better figure this out.
That happens.
And you go to your
I know, but
and you go to your advisor, and it's like kind of late for that. You missed 2 years.
12 minutes in 4 years. You've seen that advisor. You saw him for like 7 minutes freshman year, 7 minutes sophomore year. But the truth is, and these are statistics that Class 101 has researched. They said that the average student gets less than 16 minutes of individual time with their school counselor related to college planning. And I can tell you why, and it's not the school counselor's fault. I worked in a school. We had a school counselor who was really more of a social worker. They are overwhelmed with the mental health issues, family issues, the things that kids are bringing to the table. Our school counselor, I kid you not, she had her office. They moved her office because she would have 6 kids sitting in the office hallway. 4 of them are crying.
Comes my ride.
I hope it's not mine later. But they are spending so much time doing responsive and reactive counseling. Like, you're going to go pull a kid for 30 minutes
reactive,
to talk.
Huh?
It is reactive counseling.
I know it.
And you're going to go grab a kid. Maybe you were going to grab a kid for 30 minutes to talk about college planning with them and they're a sophomore or a junior. But then you get this emergency. And you cancel that meeting with that kid.
Exactly.
So that's what we're here for. We're here to supplement, augment, not replace the school counselor.
Yeah, it sounds like a good service.
It should be. Yeah.
So they can go to what? Class101.com / New London County CT.
Yep.
So
Facebook, Instagram.
Okay. OnlyFans?
What's that?
OnlyFans? No.
Not yet.
Hi, I'm Steve.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
It's like, did you
hear for the parents of the kids?
Did you hear about the fact that per capita there are more women in Connecticut that have OnlyFans than anywhere in the nation?
I had no idea.
No, seriously, it was.
Are you serious?
It was in the news, like I say, a month ago. It says Connecticut leads per capita number of OnlyFans accounts in the nation.
I have
Do you know what OnlyFans is?
That was actually a really good reference because it's so Connecticut specific.
So, and I didn't know that.
Call me behind things.
Look it up. I'm not kidding.
OnlyFans.
Okay.
Boy.
All right.
Oh boy.
Is a website. Here, we're gonna teach you rich stuff here. Look at poor Steve.
I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get the free education on this one.
Oh, this is classic. I don't even want to think about the people who are potentially on there. So
I know. It's like what?
I say
OnlyFans, huh?
3. It's like it's 30%. It's like you see 10 women. It's like
statistically,
3 of you are on OnlyFans. No.
So OnlyFans is a website that predominantly female and I'm thinking maybe couples
Could be.
They get together and it's their own porn stuff. And they're
With the upside down
Like
pineapple.
subscription thing.
No. They're
No.
just doing their thing. And they're posting
Subscription-based.
videos. It's subscription based.
Really?
Yeah. And it's it's a big thing.
Wow.
People make a lot of money doing it.
Uh-huh.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a lady that popped up on my no, just I don't know
What?
how.
You better get that computer checked out.
No,
not
my
that kind of
TikTok.
popped up. Oh, okay.
No,
not that kind
no.
of popped up. All right. All right.
My TikTok
I'll clean that up
feed.
for you. I was a computer tech too.
It doesn't pop up much, but
Daryl can fix it.
yeah, not that one. So, shit, where was I?
Something popped up on your.
Yeah. Oh, and it was just some lady.
Yeah.
And she was doing like stretches and stuff like that. I'm thinking she's like some exercise
It's like an
guru.
exercise reel or something.
Yeah,
like
and
a
I just
yoga
kept
reel.
going, but if you watch it for X amount of seconds or whatever, and she wasn't really all that attractive, it was just so. But I was just wondering what the hell she was doing. So when you watch it a little bit, the algorithm says, "Oh, well, you must find that interesting." So we're going to send you more of that.
No.
Jesus.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they start chasing you with the Google ads.
Yeah,
The targeted Google campaigns, they'll chase you. You'll be on another website later on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no. Oh, where
you
did
could be
that come
talking
from?
about. We could be talking about funerals right here, and all of a sudden your phone, you're like, "Oh, caskets, really?"
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's so
Our
anyway,
phones listen to
it
us.
turned out that this lady, she's stretching. Really, what she was doing was showing, different like contortions that she could get herself into for her OnlyFans. And then she even came on and said one time, she was like, I couldn't even believe it. My uncle subscribes. I'm like, that's just sick.
Oh, it's and it's a lot more rampant than we know. I'm going to start one called "Not So Many Fans," where I'm going to have people pay me not to be on the internet.
Yeah, right.
It's like, listen, dude,
Yeah.
just stop right now. I'll send you whatever. Just open my wallet, take my
Yeah.
money,
Please,
go to my
please.
PayPal.
Yeah.
Just don't be on here anymore. Like
Mine's
that-
gonna
I might
be,
make a lot of money doing that.
Mine's going to be baddiabeticfeet.com. Yeah, but
There may be a market for that. too.
I'm
Like,
sure there is.
Everything's
And
possible at this point. How
Don't-
did we get onto that? That's
I don't know. Class 101 to bad diabetic feet,
Oh boy, yeah. Right now,
which is gross.
right now, marketing is freaking out. They're like, wait a minute.
Steve.
What are they talking about? So
Reel them back in.
this is-
Reel them back in.
I'm gonna give the disclaimer that this is entirely for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
However, I am representing Steve Craig, Educational Consulting of Southeastern Connecticut at this moment. That's me. I'm taking that liability personally, not Class 101. So, but no,
Let's go back to Class 101.
Back in your
next question.
Because
little safe
Next
zone,
question.
right?
there are no. I don't
This
think.
has turned into like a bad post game press conference.
Yeah,
Next question.
I am thinking that there are no any kind of grants or scholarships for OnlyFans. On any kind of
imagine
service.
if that's like, one of the things I'll bring this up, and all joking aside with this, is one of the things that we're looking at is the quality of activities that kids are engaged in.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when they're doing a Common App, there are 10 spaces for schools to send. I think it was 10. Let's say at one time it was like 10 schools you could send it to.
Sure.
Good segue, Steve.
There are 10 lines for activities. So
Yeah.
what we do with our students is we make sure they fill every line. So there's a reason that they have the 10 lines.
Right.
But we don't want the kids to have blank lines in the Common App.
Mm.
So if they aren't doing something, so all right, in high school I did yearbook, student government, whatever. Okay, that's what I had.
Great.
If I have a kid that comes to me and they have track, cross country, like some other student leadership thing that they do, they're in band. So they got 4 things. All right, then I'm sitting down and I'm going, so what else have you been doing? Any volunteer stuff, other stuff in your community? Do you do anything with younger students? Do you do anything with elderly people? So what we're really doing is, the next thing is the idea of the separator. And it is to have something in the college application and resume of the student that separates them from everybody else who looks exactly the same on paper. So let's say I've got a kid with a 3.9. She's expected to be the salutatorian of her class.
Mhm.
She's took AP classes, all this other stuff. She looks great. She's like, and her parents are like, she's going to get scholarships. She's going to get into Notre Dame. So the expectations are high. So this is what happens. These universities and institutions get literally thousands of applications. And the admissions officers are sitting down and they're looking at all these applications, and all these kids look the same on paper. I don't want my student to be in that pile of, okay, these kids are all, they're your garden variety smart kids who probably would be good students here. I want our students to stand out because of a separator. They organize a student-led community service project. They were involved in it. They worked with younger students presenting something in the school. They worked in, let's say, a skilled nursing facility doing stuff with elderly people, disabled people. And the idea is it's student-driven, student-led, and they may be even leading other students. Those are the kinds of things that I'm going to be doing with kids. So remember the old, now we got the senior project, capstone, that type of thing. Everybody's doing that.
Is capstone failing?
I'm not hearing this. You know what I'm hearing about capstone is capstone is being modified. Like, in other words, the initial intent of capstone was
community involvement.
It was pretty lofty what they were trying to get kids to do. But I think between COVID and a lot of other challenges that we've had in recent years, they've kind of, diluted capstone. I'm not saying it's gone. Some places they call it a senior project where the student has like an ongoing project and they have a teacher that's their advisor on this.
Right.
I'm that advisor. So if my students don't have that capstone, they don't have a senior project, we're doing something. And I'm going to help them. I'm going to help them design it. One of the things that I did in Killingly, we did something called Big Picture Learning, which is, if you've ever heard of the Met School in Providence, Bill and Melinda Gates donated so much money to Big Picture Learning because they do such a great job. It's learning through interest and learning through internships. So the students have individual learning plans around 5 different skills. And what they do is based on their interest and what they intend to do. We try to get the students internships 2 days a week where they're going out and they're doing what it is that they want to do. So let's say one of the students in Providence wanted to be involved in theater. So he ended up with an internship where he was working at a theater and he was doing all the costuming. So 2 days a week, his entire job that whole semester was on Tuesday and Thursday, he would do all the costuming, be involved in the productions. He was there for all the things. Then they do a presentation at the end of the semester. So we would take midterms and finals. Our students do a 45-minute, essentially defense of their learning plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really different approach. But when I was in Killingly, we
it's like a learn by doing, basically.
We adopted it. And I literally was doing this type of thing with students. I was sitting down with them. I had 10, 12 advisees. My teaching partner had 10 or 12. And what we would do is I would sit down with each individual kid and they would have their learning plan and there would be some outcome at the end of the semester. And I was there to help them. I was there to facilitate it. I didn't do it for them. In fact, one of the things that I saw big picture people do is if the kid wasn't working on a particular skill, so like say it was personal skills or quantitative reasoning, and they didn't come up with their objective and what they were going to do for it, they wouldn't do it for them. Right. They're like, you're going to get this done. And then as long as the students have the investment in it, they're going to follow through on it. And that's what I think you were alluding to earlier, is the kids have to be motivated. They have to want to do it. Oh, yeah. So the learning through interest and learning through internships,
and it's so diverse
really
now.
Successful.
It's so diverse right now what kids are interested in, especially with new media and everything that's going on there.
Yeah.
It's just
it went from I want to be a game designer to like now there are industries that are emerging that they weren't there 10 years ago, 5 years ago. And the kids they're all over them. They're on top of them.
So 5 years ago, if somebody said, I stream my gameplay for Fortnite, you'd probably laugh. Now, these game players that are streaming
Twitch,
and
other
Discord, they're making
unbelievable,
literally $500,000 a year.
Yeah, wow! People watching them play games,
no
kidding, or walk through a certain like boss level in a video game, or like it's insane. But
it is, and it's crazy. It's who's doing the laughing now.
Yeah, right.
there are job titles that don't even exist yet, that 5 years down the road are going to be huge. You're going to go to Occupational Outlook Handbook or something like that, and you're like, this thing has got like a little like sunrise on it. Like this thing's taken off.
Where do I make my living? On the internet.
Yeah.
Really, when you think about it, between doing this and doing stuff on TikTok, which I don't know if you know.
You're doing stuff on TikTok?
Yeah,
it's become a major marketing and business medium now.
It's to gear up to my OnlyFans.
Or the not so many fans.
Not so many fans.
Yeah.
That right there, I'm telling you, that could be a thing.
If you pay me, I will go away.
Yeah.
I promise. Otherwise, I will keep. I have a tracking Google ads, and I will follow you everywhere. You pay me, I'll disappear forever.
Follow me today, Mike at notsomanyfans.com.
I don't know how I feel about the Google ad campaigns. It was something I started looking into. And I've gotten quoted on some stuff, and I was about to do it, and I dropped it at the last minute before it started. I said, I have thought this through. I'm not going to do it. But there's something to be said for the sponsored ads, and I don't know, Mike, how you promote your network, but it's been hard for me because I'm really depending on everything locally. I mean, yes, I have my corporate Facebook and my website, all that stuff is managed for me to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. I don't even have to put content. I am putting content, but I don't have to. It's always there. But it's not reaching audiences like some of the other college planning stuff online. Sure. I'll look at one of their posts because I'm a college planner and I look at other stuff, I'll start getting these sponsored posts. These people get like 400 hits, 400 likes. And like my stuff's been up there for like 7 months, and it's like
I can tell you why that is.
But yeah, it's that part has been a struggle. And I'm going to say this to you, Mike. You have been an entrepreneur as long as I remember. So going back to high school, Mike was DJing. He gets being in business for himself.
Sure.
I'm brand new to this. I was a lifetime educator. Mm-hmm. Now I did some computer repair work and things like that, stuff on the side. Doing hardware, software, cleaning viruses off people's computers who were going on OnlyFans.
I guess it never really.
Stuff like that. It's like all these elderly people who are spending too much time on porn sites that
only geriatricfans.com.
Oh my gosh. No, you wouldn't believe some of the things I've had to do to like clean up.
ChangeMyDiaper.com.
Nice.
But people get jammed up like when they're not sophisticated internet users. Those are the toughest computers to clean, because you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, where do I start with this? And you're just like, I kind of just need to wipe your computer. But that was one of the things that would happen. But getting back to, and like I want to compliment you on this, is that
thank you.
You have been an entrepreneur since you were probably 15 years old, if not sooner. I
can tell you where it started.
You've always been kind of like carving your own path, signing your own ticket. Yeah. And you always, and this is when you started doing this, I was like, you want to talk about full circle. Mike has gone through all the, and I know you did you had other careers and other sales stuff that you did, but all of a sudden you find your way back to this.
My mother always said that's what I would do.
In Jewett City, which, by the way, I refer to you outside of this room to everybody I talk to, Mike Minarski, Mr. Jewett City. And I'll say this.
What?
I'll say this for the record.
Wow.
There is probably no one that I know that loves this town and supports this town like you do.
I wonder how Al Gear felt about that.
Well,
you're going to take the title of king.
No. No,
Alan. First of all, I'm going to apologize in advance. But what I mean by this is I'm going to qualify this. Mike, you have been a proponent of this town from in a vocal way with the sports. Like I remember you being in Little League when we were kids. You've always loved this town, supported this town.
It's my Mayberry, man.
It is, and I love the fact that you're back here. You're doing this, and what's at the heart of what you're doing is this town in this area.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate
I congratulate you on you're living your dream in a way. Yeah. You really are.
You know. I'll tell you where I appreciate that. That
it's
really
absolute truth. I mean, I tell people that
a lot. There's this is how it all started, and then we're going to call it quits for today.
Yeah.
But you got to come back before school starts again.
Oh yeah, I'll absolutely come
okay.
Back. Thank you.
So no. This has been fun. This is
I'll bring some other
on
people
different levels too. Yeah, from where? Only class101.com?
Oh no.
No, all
No,
right,
if
all
I bring
right.
some of my former classmates,
Oh,
we could have a
all
really
right.
good time. I have a few. You
Yep.
know 'em.
Bring them. That'll be a blast.
I think a Friday would be good. I might be able to get a couple of them to come along.
There's how it started with me, and this is the only thing I'll talk about as far as it was a snowstorm. I was living in Mary Brown Apartments. I was like,
I remember
I don't know, I was young, and I would.
I don't even remember that. I only remember the house.
My mother. Well, these are apartments.
Yeah, I know Mary Brown. Yeah.
So my mother would say,
"You lived there."
I did when I was
Oh,
like
good.
4th grade, 5th
Okay.
grade. So my mother said to me, "Why don't you go outside and and see if you can like shovel their walk or something like that."
Oh,
All right. So I would go over and like how like you go up to the door and there's like 2 doors, and there's an apartment on the left and there's an apartment on the right. So I'll be like,
little
okay.
mill town. Like what else would they have? Right.
So I would knock on the left hand side, and I know it looks like the right hand side where you're looking in the camera, but and they would open the door. Hi, can I shovel your walk? Maybe clean off your car for you. Sure. Well, how much do you charge? Whatever you want to pay me.
There you
And
go.
that was
Right.
it. So this is
I'm going
what
to try that with my business. What do you want to pay me? I'll give it a shot.
But back then, if you got a
Yeah.
buck or $2, you were like, so I would shovel their half.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And that
that's
was
hilarious.
And then I would clean off their car. And then I'd go to the next door, right next door. Hi, do you want me to? I just did theirs. How much you charge? Whatever you want to pay me. Okay, I'm like 11 years old and I'm coming back with like $70.
Yeah, right.
Because
And
I've
you're
gone
coming
through
back.
all the apartments.
Yep.
I went over to
You head
Heaven
right over
Land.
to Jewish City Convenience
Yeah.
to get a slushie and then go get some donuts at Aramoni's. See, when we were kids, that's like you got like a little cash. in your pocket.
Norman's Dairy.
Oh, that was the best.
That's where I would go. So
Do you remember Garbage Pail Kids and
Yes.
all the things that we would buy
yeah.
at the old dairy?
You remember the
Yes.
slush puppies and the helmets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still go when I go to the ballparks. I still get helmet Sundays.
Do you really?
At Polar Park, they got
Yeah.
the Worcester, the Woo Sox.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I haven't been to the Woo
Woo
Sox yet. I got to go there.
Oh my!
A friend of mine was just
You
talking
gotta
about
go.
that. All right, we got to get out of here.
All
It
right.
is boy, we've been on. This is the longest show, Rich, we've done in a long time.
That's because I talk a lot.
Sure is.
Well, I don't shut up. Period. So anyway, Steve Craig, Class 101. Give your phone number.
Absolutely.
I have it here, but I don't know. I just want to make sure.
860-910-7568. That is a cell phone. You can contact me there. And if you are looking for a consultation, if you go to the website that Mike gave earlier, there'll be a pop-up, which everybody hates. I hate them when they go to a website and they say more information. But if you fill that out, you can set a time for yourself for a free consultation. You pick the day.
It'll
and the
get
time,
directed to you.
and it'll get directed to me. And if it doesn't work out, feel free to contact me directly and I'll set something up.
All right. Class101.com/New London County CT. Or you can just contact Steve at 860-910-7568. All right, Steve.
Thanks again, Mike.
It was great talking to you,
Great
man.
time.
Rich, hey.
Thank you, Rich.
Good having you, bro.
Hey, I learned
Thanks
a
for-
little bit.
Yeah, thanks for
Actually, Rachel
having
in the
stranger
chat room
in.
said,
Yeah.
she goes, I learned a lot today. She goes, as a matter of fact, I need to start streaming my Atari 2600 play. She may make some money. Who knows?
That's it.
All right, we're out of here. Thanks.
All
We'll see
right.
you Monday.